This program was brought to you by Robin's Woodfire Barbecue and the Robin Salzar family.
Welcome to What's Up Pasadena, your source for uncovering all things unique in our city.
On this episode, the ice heats up at the Pasadena Ice Skating Center with Hollywood Curling and the Team USA Curling team. We watch as students grow leaps and bounds at C-Round Ballet Works, and we experience the Mediterranean environment of Arlington Garden, Pasadena's only dedicated public garden.
The Olympics may be over, but there's one winter sport that's still thriving here at the Pasadena Ice Skating Center.
Hollywood Curling, throughout the year, we teach what we call Learn to Curl classes. They're the perfect opportunity for people who have never done the sport before to come out and try it. It's a 2-hour crash course in the sport of curling. And it's our mission to expose as many people as possible to the sport. So what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna have about 50 people out there who are going to work in small groups with an instructor, and we're gonna break it down step by step. They're gonna learn how to slide out of the hack, how to deliver a rock. We're gonna add in the sweeping, which is what 90% of them really came to try. And then we're gonna put it all together and have them play mini games. Tonight, we also have some folks who have done this once before and wanted to take it further, so they're coming back for their second time around. Curling is an older sport. It's been around for several hundred years. The estimate is over 400 years. And it was started by what I assume were some drunk Scots in Scotland coming home from the bar. That's kind of the well-established joke within the curling community, is they must have been drinking. Honestly, it was started by some people on a frozen loch in Scotland, throwing big rocks, literal hunks of granite across a frozen surface. And over time, the game evolved and it developed, and you've seen a big change in the sport in the last 100 years or so, where ice technology has completely changed the way that the game is played. Now that we can make really consistent ice and you can predict what those stones are going to do, it's a very different game than it was 300 years ago. We get this question all the time. You have 2 teams, 4 people on each team, okay? And each person is gonna throw 2 stones for each end that we play. And an end is like an inning in baseball, okay? And when you're not throwing your own stone or delivering the rock, you are sweeping for your teammate, or you're that guy all the way down on the end that's screaming at their teammates. That's the skip. And the skip is there getting awfully loud and in their faces and telling them how, the skip calls the strategy of the game. Okay, so if we're playing a game of yellow versus red, okay, red team is gonna throw 8 rocks, yellow team is gonna throw 8 rocks, and at the end of that end, when all of those rocks come to a stop, we're gonna count our way from the button or the very center of that target. And we're gonna count our way out, and we're gonna count how many of one color is closer to the button before the other color interrupts. Only one team can score per end, and it's gonna be that team that's closest to the button. Because it is a game of strategy, you're not just thinking about your next shot, you're thinking about what they'll do and what you'll do in return. My favorite part of the game is that it really does take all 4 members of your team to make every single shot. You cannot win a gold medal unless all 4 players are talking to each other, communicating on the same page about what your strategy is gonna be and how you're gonna execute. Pasadena has been just a tremendously successful location for us. It's central, it's close, you know, this rink happens to be really close to a really thriving community and nightlife in the heart of the city. And I think that makes a big difference because people are really, you know, they can plan their night out around it. When we first started in Pasadena, it was an experiment. Did we think we could get enough members to support yet another location in the city? And it slowly picked up steam throughout all of last year, and now we're thrilled to say that our Pasadena location is usually the first one to sell out.
We are open an average of 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year round. People don't know that. We're also open 365 days. So Christmas Day, we have 1,000 skaters. New Year's Day, after the Rose Parade, we're open. We have Something for everyone is what we like to say. We have beginner skating classes, we have hockey classes, we have adult hockey leagues, we have broomball for church groups, we have a synchro skating team that practices early mornings, and basically we're open from 5 a.m. until after 1 o'clock in the morning every day. The Hollywood Curling Club has helped us add another variety that we can offer our customers here in Pasadena. We thrive on having something for everyone at our facility. So we hadn't had curling before, we don't have the equipment, so they're our go-to people when we have a curling event.
We are very fortunate to have a very, very, very close personal connection with all of Team USA, the gold medal winners from the Olympics in Korea. And so we're really excited that they gave us a call and said, we're gonna be in town for about 24 hours. Do you have anything going on? We said, yes. So we're really excited to have all of Team Schuster here tonight to do a little meet and greet with our participants. And we were able to surprise everybody with a quick email this morning to say, hey, good thing you signed up today. Guess who's coming?
Yeah, our team went over there and had a pretty good week. We had a little bit of a slow start, but that's kind of seems to be our team's theme, I guess. So we started 2-4 and kind of had our backs against the wall, and yeah, and won our last 5 games in a row, which put us atop the podium and got us these gold medals. I got my start in curling when I was like 13. We had a junior program. My dad actually curled in league, so I knew what it was, but he'd never let me come and try it. And honestly, it was just like this here today. Like, I went down to junior night and kind of amongst a bunch of kids that didn't have too much clue what was going on, and yeah, from the first few slides when I got a little bit of instruction and threw a rock down the ice, it was one of those things I've been hooked on ever since.
I think that curling is so appealing to so many people for one major reason. It's the only sport you really watch during the Winter Olympics, and from your armchair, from your couch, you look at it and think, I can totally do that, right? It looks so easy, and it's so much harder than it looks. We love to say that we can teach anybody how to curl, but to get really good at it, to play at the precision of, you know, those Olympic athletes is gonna take a huge investment in time. But the reality is, very much like bowling, anybody from age 8 to 80 plus can come in, learn the basics, and join a league that same day and make lifelong friends. And that's really the appeal of curling, is both the accessibility and the social element to it.
In 1940, the Arroyo Seco Freeway was the first freeway built in the United States. Now known as the 110, it connected Pasadena to downtown Los Angeles.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
The art of ballet has always been considered the epitome of grace and skill. At C-Round Ballet Works, adult students have the opportunity to learn the techniques behind this much revered dance form.
C-Round Ballet Works came to be 10 years ago this year, actually, in June. It was a way for me to decide that it was adults I really wanted to focus on. I've been teaching children most of my dancing life, and although children are, of course, the future and are great for creating great ballerinas, I feel as though adults need the opportunity to express themselves as well, and not just in a fitness sense. I believe that it is a craft, I believe that it is a practice, and it's something that people can grow into. C-Round Ballet Works offers a beginning ballet course. I do require that all of my students who have never taken any ballet before or have only had a small amount of ballet, I want them to commit to 1 class per week for 6 weeks. I am actually starting a course today. And that gives them the basics from the very beginning, as if they've never even heard the word ballet. It gives them an opportunity to see things slowly from the very beginning, and then after that 6-week course, they can move on into the Advanced Beginning Level 1, I have Advanced Beginning Level 2, I have Intermediate, and I have an Advanced Professional class. Oh, I also do point work as well.
Point is what all professional female ballet dancers do, which is to use special shoes that allow you to stand on the very tip of your toe. And I always thought that, partly because of my age, that I would never be able to do that. And I didn't think I was strong enough, but I'm doing it, and I'm enjoying it. It's very much a challenge, but I feel I've gotten a lot stronger in the few months I've been doing it.
I always wanted to take ballet when I was little, but I just never did, and it was really intimidating thinking about walking into a class as an adult for the first time. You think of this as something for little kids. This is such a welcoming atmosphere, and it really has improved a lot of my life. It's improved my posture, it's improved the way I think about my body, it's improved the way I manage time. If you're even thinking about it a little bit, I'd encourage anyone to come take a class.
My teaching philosophy is largely based upon Vaganova technique. Agrippina Vaganova, back around the Bolshevik Revolution, created her technique. She was disenchanted with her career, and I would say I was disenchanted with my career a little bit as well. And I really wanted to focus on the how and the why. And Agrippina Vaganova's sort of charter is finding out the how and the why of movement, and really behind strength and purpose of movement. If you can teach your students the how and the why, they can do anything.
You get these corrections from Catherine, and you're finally doing it right, and you look in the mirror and it looks correct. That's awesome. It's an awesome feeling.
There is a lot of opportunity for ballet here, and I think because Pasadena embraces the arts so much, it feels very welcoming. And the audiences are very eager to get out there as well. It wouldn't be like in some places where you can't fill a house. My goals for C-Round Ballet Works are largely to spread the word of adult ballet to not only the Pasadena community, but the greater Los Angeles community at large. You know, anybody can go to the gym. Anybody can go to yoga and Pilates, etc., those bar classes. But again, this is a craft, and I really want to show people that it is open for them.
You have to go in with an open mind. It's going to be hard. I mean, it's not like taking a fitness class where they cater to whatever you can do. In a way, you have to meet the standard no matter what. But everyone's very supportive, and actually I think that's one of the great things about Catherine's class, is that she doesn't let you get away with doing it at whatever level you're doing it at right now. She wants you to do it very cleanly and at a high level.
Catherine is so fantastic because despite the number of bodies in her class, she really hones in on you, and there's so many little intricacies of ballet. The way the head is, the way the arm is, the way the hands are, and she tells you how to perfect those so that it looks right. And it's amazing that such a little like change, like the elbow lifts up, and then all of a sudden you're in perfect form. And she really compliments you when you're doing it right, and so it's just nice to have that attention. It's very unlike a lot of other adult ballet classes. I think it's too much for a lot of those teachers to hone in, because there's so many things in ballet to perfect. There's so many different parts of it. It's not just kicking your leg up. There's, you know, the muscles involved. You have to make sure you're using the right muscles. The head has to be posed the right way. The shoulders need to be in alignment. So you're constantly thinking about all these things. It's really nice to escape the real world and come here. It stops the voices in your head.
And you don't have to be a professional. You don't have to have been a pro. And our classes are so mixed. We do have women that were professional dancers and dance with the Joffrey. And we have a lot of women that have, and men too, that have come back from taking as a kid and they were serious then. I never even took ballet. I started as an adult, and you have a lot of people starting ballet for the first time in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and she provides that space for adult learning in a serious studio space.
The most rewarding part of ballet for dancing is I love music, and music drives dance, and there are some choreographers who feel differently. They are inspired by movement and then the music comes second. I believe that the music comes first, and when you hear it, it's the most beautiful thing ever. Teaching, when I see a look on an adult's face that is that of a child. They just beam when they do their first pirouette, they do their first turn, or they do jumps and they have those beautiful feet. That is rewarding for me, definitely.
In 1977, the Oakland Raiders defeated the Minnesota Vikings at the Rose Bowl Stadium during Super Bowl XI. The stadium has hosted the Super Bowl 5 times.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be earthquake next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
If you're looking for the sun-drenched feel of the Mediterranean, look no further than the water-wise landscape of Arlington Garden.
My husband and I moved next door to the garden in 2002 and offered to be on a committee that Steve Madison, our councilman in this district, set up to come up with a good idea for how this 3 acres would be used if they were able to secure a lease with Caltrans. We came up with the idea that this should be a garden.
We're a 3-acre drought-tolerant Mediterranean garden. We're working basically with the board of directors, the community, and volunteers to do strategic planning in terms of being a sustainable outdoor demonstration classroom for schools as well as local residents and for the community.
We wanted this to be a beautiful place, so our intention was to take the 3 acres of weeds and the 12 trees and turn it into something that people would enjoy. We started off with putting in some olive trees and some Palo Verde trees, some plane trees, and my husband was kind of worried that this wouldn't get going very well, so he said if nothing else happens, we'll have some shade out there. We have worked on creating a path structure for people to get around and see the garden. Maida's idea was that people would visit different rooms out here and not see the whole garden at once. She wanted them to discover it as they walked around.
Just is great to see the activity in the garden in terms of, especially when in the springtime when the flowers start blooming, and even when it's, the dormant season, there's still a lot going on here.
I think my favorite part is being able to walk around out here and to observe what's going on. I have favorite flowers for sure. I love the Mexican marigolds and the Mexican bird of paradise, the grevilleas, the sages that smell so wonderful. And I love the flowering plants that bring in all the hummingbirds. So those are my favorite things.
I think primarily what we're going to try to do is have more educational workshops, how to do sustainable gardening, what weeds you can compost, how to reduce waste stream, how to use weeds as mulch, basically learning how to take care of Mediterranean and native plants that are appropriate for Southern California. The reason why we want native and Mediterranean or climate appropriate plants is because they require less water, so they definitely help in terms of saving water. They typically are much more successful in terms of establishing and growing faster, growing better. They provide food for birds and pollen and whatnot for pollinators. So basically, they are critical to ecological health. So when you have a healthy ecology and you're planting climate appropriate native plants, then you need less chemicals, you need less fertilizer, you need less stuff going into the waste stream.
I think people have had a very good response to the garden. The neighbors have been very supportive. They love coming here. Just when things come into bloom, it's always beautiful. The orange grove is in bloom right now, so it's almost strong enough to knock you over. It smells so good.
When you come here, you feel good, you feel relaxed, and I think that a lot of people forget what it means to be outside and in the sun or in the rain, or just to be in a place that is not you know, surrounded by air conditioning or fluorescent lights. So I think it's critical that people come here and feel how good it feels to be in a garden.
Here's your events calendar for the month of May. Free Family Night, Mud, Dirt, and Clay on May 1st at Kidspace Children's Museum. PCC Composer Showcase on May 4th at Pasadena City College. Celebrating Comics on May 5th at all Pasadena Public Library branches. The Pasadena Food and Wine Festival on May 6th at the Rose Bowl Stadium. SGV Habitat for Humanity's Women Build 2018 on May 10th through 12th at Desideria Homes, Pasadena. Bold Pass on May 12th in Old Pasadena. Museums of the Aurora Day on May 20th in various locations. That's your events calendar for the month of May.
Thanks for joining us on this episode. Make sure to follow us on social media and visit us at pasadenamedia.org. See you next time.